Chapter 28, Cleveland, Ohio, July 21st, 2016, evening. It is the biggest night of Donald Trump's life. He has pulled off an amazing accomplishment, capturing the Republican nomination for president with no political machine or experience. Along the way, he received more primary votes than any GOP candidate in history, 14 million. Now, as Donald Trump joins the Republican National Convention, the nation awaits his victory speech. As usual, there is no extensive entourage advising Trump. He has some writers and advisors like Paul Manafort and Sean Spicer, but he basically continues to rely on himself for just about everything. His daughter Ivanka will introduce him tonight. She and her husband, Jared Kushner, have the candidate's trust, along with the Trump sons Don Jr. and Eric, but that's about it for the inner circle. Trump barely knows his choice for vice president, Mike Pence, the governor of Indiana. Pence spoke last night at the Quicken Loans Arena to a friendly but not frenzied crowd. Unlike Sarah Palin 8 years ago, Pence was selected because of his low-key Christian profile. The flamboyant and secular Trump needs the evangelical vote that rejected Mitt Romney in 2012. Thus, the button-down Governor Pence received the nod. In 2008, John McCain hoped Governor Palin would supply Dash to the Republican campaign, but now, with Donald Trump leading the ticket, Dash is not a problem. Behind the scenes, there was confusion over the VP selection because Trump could not make up his mind. At first, he favored the outspoken governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, but while twinning the volatile Christie with the volatile Trump might have worked in a remake of The Wild Bunch, it was not a roadmap to the White House. Paul Manafort was the influencer here, pointing out how the stability and conservatism of Pence would provide balance. Trump finally acceded. Although the arena crowd is jazzed, as Reince Priebus, chairman of the Republican National Committee, finishes up his remarks, there has been some serious negativity here in Cleveland. The Bush family didn't show up for the convention, nor did Mitt Romney and John McCain. Even home state governor John Kasich blew off the convention proceedings, a serious display of disrespect. Senator Ted Cruz did attend, and yesterday gave a speech that did not endorse Donald Trump. Vote your conscience. Vote for candidates up and down the ticket whom you trust to defend our freedom and to be faithful to the Constitution. Cruz was heavily booed. It is clear to all that many in the Republican establishment will not support Donald Trump for president. However, after two brutal losses to Barack Obama, the GOP mainstays have lost clout and affection. Traditional and conservative Americans are frustrated with non-confrontational leadership, so it doesn't matter a whit that the Bushes are not in Cleveland. The Avenger would be there, and that's all that mattered. In addition to the GOP stalwarts, 6 major companies that sponsored the GOP convention in 2012 have disappeared. Wells Fargo, UPS, Motorola, JP Morgan Chase, Ford, and Walgreens Boots Alliance have all decided not to participate in the Trump coronation. This is a signal that the racist attacks on Trump are working. Generally speaking, American companies are cowardly and could not care less about what is true. If there is controversy in the marketplace, even one contrived by political zealots, they run. This un-American posture would soon greatly expand during the Trump era and become a genuine threat to freedom of speech and due process. Outside the convention hall, taking full advantage of the First Amendment, the usual left-wing suspects are venting. Carl Bernstein of Watergate fame called Trump a neo-fascist as part of CNN's objective and fair election coverage. Donald Trump isn't going to let any of that affect his demeanor on this night. Here he is, in the middle of the action, winning, the center of worldwide attention. Trump knows he has reached the pinnacle. Almost. In a few minutes, thousands of militant supporters will cheer his every word, applause filling the massive arena. LeBron James, Michael Jordan, even Joe Willie Namath never came close. It is a stunning achievement for the second son of Fred Trump, who once yearned to conquer Manhattan. Now, he is one achievement away from being the most powerful man in the world. Political conventions are essentially choreographed propaganda displays that can wear the strongest person out after 4 days. Certainly, I was spent. Outside of the Ted Cruz drama, the Republicans behaved like Republicans, mostly polite and predictable. But political rhetoric is usually tedious, and Cleveland was no exception. As a commentator on TV, I could do little to liven up. As a commentator on TV, I could do little to liven things up. As he readied himself for his primetime speech, which would begin at 10:15 Eastern, Donald Trump might have heard the song "Here Comes the Sun" played as his daughter Ivanka took the stage to introduce him. It was a nice touch, as Trump's eldest daughter is generally considered a sunny presence. But shortly afterward, the estate of the late Beatle George Harrison, who wrote the song, lodged an objection. The statement issued said the use of the tune by the Trump campaign was offensive and against the wishes of the George Harrison estate. Given that American democracy is on display at both presidential conventions, that seems kind of petty. In fact, it was kind of petty. It is showtime, the main event. As 32 million Americans watch, Donald Trump kisses his daughter and approaches the microphone, an object he profoundly loves. For the next 75 minutes, candidate Trump would ruminate, bloviate, holler, and promise. The National Public Radio correspondent described Trump's speech this way. Trump repeated a similar litany that recreated Nixon's dark canvas. Then he blamed it all on Clinton, adding that he was sure President Obama was deeply sorry he had appointed her Secretary of State. It probably does not matter that the president will say very much the opposite about her next week, when Clinton is nominated by the Democrats in Philadelphia. In a world depicted in a Trump speech, fantastic assertions are far from aberration. For example, Trump repeatedly promised to solve the nation's and the world's thorniest problems quickly. ISIS would be defeated, trade deals would be ripped up and renegotiated, and billions would flow into America to create jobs. That report simply reinforced the fact that NPR is not a fan of Mr. Trump, but its reporter, Ron Elving, deserves some attention even though sarcasm dominated his speech coverage. Let's look at some of Elving's fantastic assertions. As I write these words, President Trump has been in office just over 2 years. In that time, ISIS has been largely defeated. Applications for unemployment insurance are at a 69-year low. NAFTA and other trade deals have been renegotiated, and billions in corporate money have flowed back to the United States because of the Trump tax revision. Facts can be annoying things. What say you, NPR? That is not a partisan question. The fact is that NPR's analysis of the Trump speech turned out to be shallow. So, should NPR acknowledge that? After candidate Trump's speech, many media outlets laced him as NPR did. The Washington Post, a charter member of the Hate Trump Club, called Trump's words relentlessly gloomy. Other detractors dubbed the speech "Morning in America," a pivot off Ronald Reagan's hopeful ad that proclaimed "Morning in America." But Donald Trump does not care about any of that. He saw the folks. He heard the thunderous applause. Against heavy odds, his marketing campaign and fearless style were working. Now, just one person stands in his way. But that woman is just as determined as candidate Trump to win the presidency, and she has an army of supporters, including the powerful American media. Once upon a time, even Donald Trump supported Hillary Clinton and donated money to her senatorial campaign. But that was then. As he boards his private jet to fly from Ohio to New York City, Donald Trump understands that he has to make new calculations. He must find a way to rattle his Democratic opponent, demoralize her, as he has his GOP rivals. But Hillary Clinton has been through hell and doesn't fear Trump. In fact, she thinks he's an amateur who can't possibly defeat her. Donald Trump certainly isn't the slick Barack Obama who took away her minority support and made campaigning look easy while she struggled to relate to the folks. No, this is a real estate hustler with bad hair and a cheesy TV resume, a casino operator who should be back in Atlantic City where he belongs. Triumph awaits Hillary Clinton. Everyone knows that. Well, not quite everyone.